Today we're diving into the topic of fluids. So this area of physics covers how liquids and gases behave and how forces in motion apply to them. We'll explore properties like density, pressure, buoyancy, and fluid flow with plenty of real-world examples. First, let's define mass density. So it is the amount of mass in a given volume. Mathematically, it's mass divided by volume, and its SI units is kilogram per cubic meter. So this helps us understand how heavy a fluid is for its size. So these are the mass densities of common substances. So these are readily available when you search it in Google. So unless otherwise noted, densities are given at 0 degrees Celsius and 1 atmospheric pressure. So suppose a man weighs 690 Newton and has about 5.2 times 10 raised to negative 3 cubic meter of blood. So the first thing is we calculate the weight of the blood, and then we express that weight as a percentage of the man's body weight. So this example helps us connect fluid volume and density to body physiology. So first, let's solve the mass of the blood using the formula. The mass is equal to volume times the density. So this is the density of the blood. And then solving for the weight, we have mass times uh, the acceleration due to gravity. We have 54 newtons. So the percentage of blood to the body weight is 7.8%. Okay, so we also have pressure. So pressure measures how force is distributed over an area. So the SI unit of pressure is Pascal, wherein 1 Pascal is equal to 1 Newton per square meter. So in this example, the pressure on the swimmer's hand is 1.2 times 10 raised to 5 Pascal, and the area is 8.4 times 10 raised to negative 3 square meter. So we just multiply these to find the force, and then we consider the direction. So the force is 1.0 times 10 raised to 3 Newton. Since the water pushes perpendicularly against the back of the hand, the force is directed downward in the diagram. So at sea level, the atmospheric pressure is approximately 1.013 times 10 raised to 5 Pascal, which we define as 1 atm. This sets a reference point for measuring other pressures. Okay, so we have here working formulas in getting the force. So the summation of forces along y is equal to 0. So the pressure below goes upward, and the upward goes downward. So we use these sign conventions. So just like in equilibrium of forces, we equate it to 0. Okay, so if we removed all but a narrow vertical column of water, from Lake Mead. So would we still need the Hoover Dam? Okay, so this uh I want you to research on this one and comment your answer for the question. Okay, so this experiment helps illustrate that water pressure at a depth depends only on height, not on volume and width. Okay. So I will repeat. You answer the question in the comment section. So would the Hoover Dam still be the same? I mean, would the Hoover Dam still be needed to contain the water, or could a much less massive structure do the job? Now, okay, so we are asked to find the pressure at 2 points, 5.50 meter beneath the surface. Since pressure increases with depth and both are at the same depth, they'll have the same pressure. Okay. So using the formula we have derived earlier, so we can solve for the pressure. Okay, for this problem, we are going to find the height. So manipulating the formulas, we get 760 millimeter. Okay, so absolute pressure is the total pressure at a point, including atmospheric pressure. This is important when calculating pressure underwater or in pressurized systems. So we have here a sphygmomanometer. So uh, this device is used to measure blood pressure. So the blood pressure in your feet can be greater than the blood pressure in your head, depending on whether a person is standing or reclining. Pascal's principle tells us that pressure changes in a confined fluid are transmitted equally throughout. This principle is behind hydraulic systems like car lifts. So from here, we can also derive the formula or the relationship between the force and the area. So basically, pressure 1 is equal to pressure 2. For example, so a car plant and plunger together weigh 20,500 Newton. Using Pascal's principle and the given piston sizes, we find the input force needed to lift the car. Using the formula previously derived, so we have uh, F2 is equal to F1 times area 2 over area 1. So here we have 131 Newton. So Archimedes principle. So this states that the fluid exerts a buoyant force on objects immersed in it, which is equal to the weight of the displaced fluid. This explains floating and sinking. Okay, so if the object is floating, then the magnitude of the buoyant force is equal to the magnitude of its weight. Okay, let's see if this uh, pine wood raft floats. We determine how much it is submerged by comparing the buoyant force to the raft's weight. So solving for the volume of the raft, we have 4 times 4 times 0.30, we have 4.8 meters. And then, solving for the buoyant force, which is the density times the volume times the acceleration due to gravity. So we have 47,000 Newton. Okay. Since uh 47,000 Newton is greater than 26,000 Newton, it means the raft floats. So if the raft is floating, it means the weight of the raft should be equal to the buoyant force. So let's equate this one, and using the given data, so we have the height should be 0.17 meters. So can a ship float in a swimming pool's worth of water? So the surprising answer is yes, as long as the water volume displaced is equal to the ship's weight, then it will float. Fluid flow can be steady or unsteady. So in steady flow, the volume or the velocity of the fluid particles at any point is constant as time passes. In unsteady flow, so it exists whenever the velocity of the fluid particles at a point changes as time passes. Turbulent flow is an extreme kind of unsteady flow in which the velocity of the fluid particles at a point change erratically in both magnitude and direction. Uh, so most liquids are nearly incompressible. Ideal fluids are non-viscous and incompressible. So, an incompressible non-viscous fluid is called an ideal fluid. So we use streamlines to visualize fluid flow. The mass flow rate tells us how much mass passes through a cross-section per second, and it stays constant for an incompressible fluid. So example of streamlines. So this one, it's a dye and smoke coming from uh, at the top of these cyclists. Okay. So the mass of fluid per second that flows through a tube is called mass flow rate. So the mass flow rate is this one. So we use the formula. Change in mass is equal to rho v, or we have density times volume. Okay, so here uh mass flow rate is change in mass over change in time is equal to density times the area times velocity. We also have the continuity equation. So it says mass flow rate is constant in a closed tube. For incompressible fluids, this means A1 V1 is equal to A2 V2, since for incompressible fluids, the density is the same. Okay, this is the illustration for the continuity equation. So the unit for the mass flow rate is kilogram per second. Okay, so this is for the incompressible fluid, and then the volume flow rate is equal to Q, which is area times velocity. So for example, a garden hose fills a bucket with a known volume in 30 seconds. We use this to find the speed of water from the hose opening. So, and how that changes if the opening narrows. So okay, so we have here the velocity of the water if the hose is unobstructed. So we can see here that this speed is lesser as compared in letter B, wherein uh, the hose is obstructed with half as much as the original area. So if that happens, the velocity changes. So the velocity is or the water is faster. Fluids accelerate toward lower pressure regions. So in a pipe, pressure drops as elevation increases. If the pipe's cross-sectional area remains constant. So from here, if sa letter B, if iisa lang yung cross-sectional area or same lang all throughout, so habang tumataas siya, bumababa yung kanyang pressure. Okay, so another set of formulas ulit, which is the Bernoulli's equation. So this equation relates pressure, fluid speed, and elevation in a steady, incompressible, and non-viscous flow. It explains various phenomena from airplane lift to pipe flow. Okay, medyo mahaba-haba yung Bernoulli's equation. Pero if mag-exam kayo about this one, so it's better if i-derive nyo. So meron tong part na to yung i-derive natin yung Bernoulli's equation. Okay, when the truck is stationary, the tarpaulin is flat, but when moving, air moves faster over the top, reducing pressure and causing it to bulge outward. So this is an application of Bernoulli's principle. So this is an example of application of Bernoulli's principle. So Bernoulli states that an increase in the speed of a fluid occurs simultaneously with a decrease in pressure or a decrease in fluid's energy potential. So in this one, air moves faster over the top of the wing and is lower beneath. So this leads to lower pressure over wing and is one of factors that contributes to the uplift of planes. So here we derive the speed of liquid exiting a tank using Bernoulli's equation. So this helps in designing systems like water towers and reservoir. So the tank is open to the atmosphere at the top. Find an expression for the speed of the liquid leaving the pipe at the bottom. So we have here pressure 1 is equal to pressure 2 is equal to atmospheric pressure. So we have here the formulas. Uh, and then we will come up with the formula for velocity, which is square root of 2gh. So this formula, we also tackled this in uh, free fall. So we have the velocity formula in the free fall, which is the square root of 2gh, if you can recall. So this one illustrates the flow of an ideal fluid, and then in letter B, it is the flow of a viscous fluid. So the velocity is maximum at the center and zero at the outer part or along the wall. So in ideal fluid, the velocity is constant all throughout. So viscosity measures a fluid's resistance to flow. The tangential force required to move a layer of fluid is proportional to its viscosity, which we measure in Pascal seconds or poise. So we have here the coefficient of viscosity, the area, the velocity over y. Poiseuille's law give the volume flow rate through a tube as a function of the tube's dimension, viscosity, fluid viscosity, and pressure difference. So we use this in medicine and engineering. So the final example calculates the force needed to inject a fluid with known viscosity through a needle. Using Poiseuille's law, we determine the necessary plunger force. So we will use the formula and just plug in the given. So we have here 1,200 Pascal. So after solving for the pressure, we solve for the force using this formula. And then we have 0.25 Newton.